Hello, welcome to another video. I'm going to be trying to get this motherboard working correctly. It's one I picked up as part of a bundle of things, and this was the oldest motherboard in the collection, and I briefly tried to get it working before but didn't have much luck, so I thought I would have a proper go this time. It's still got well, not all of the standoffs connected, but I'm having to remove the screws and grip the little things that attach to the motherboard tray using a pair of pliers. And yeah, it's not ideal, and you can also see there's quite a few of these to sort of look at and sort out. Sometimes most of the time when I'm making these videos, I'm doing a commentary while I go along, but sometimes I just like to do the actual work on systems, and sometimes it's more relaxing to just get on with it without explaining the whole process as I go. So if you want to watch a video of me just doing this, it will be on my other channel. You can see the link below. But yeah, this is quite a long video. I spent quite a lot of time looking at this system. It takes me a while to get all of these screws out, and then I've got to remove this huge heatsink, which I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it's really wonky. And I don't think it's just the motherboard that's bent, although the motherboard is a little bit bent. But it's got this strange mounting mechanism that I've not really seen before. And I'm going to try and take it off. It's a huge Cooler Master heatsink. The fan has LEDs, and yeah, take me a while to work out the best way to try and remove this. Those things are in tight, and yeah, it's another one of those tricky jobs, but most of these start coming away just with these pliers. Yeah, if you're not a subscriber, feel free to hit the subscribe button. You can become a member if you want, and feel free to leave a comment. Really enjoy reading comments, and I also learn things along the way. So I'm still struggling to get this off. The heatsink also covers up some of the screws, so that's kind of why I've had to go from the other side to remove it. But I've decided I'm just going to try it with the heatsink still attached now. I'm going to, see if the system powers on. I've plugged in a graphics card. I think that one is a GT730. I've picked that one because it's got a VGA connector, and I want to connect it up to that ISO monitor, which is VGA. And I'm using a Corsair CX500 power supply that has worked flawlessly, really, in one of my in my main PC. So yeah, it should be up to the task of running this system. I think we managed to get this popping up once, and it was an Intel quad core 2 quad Q6600. And I'm going to try and switch it on now. You can see how wonky that heatsink is. So the fan has come on, and then it switched back off again, but it's starting again. waiting to see if something comes up on the screen. But no, we're not getting anything. And I will just check that it is properly switched on. I might have to stop using this monitor. The sort of beeps that it makes are kind of useful, that you know that it's on, but it's also quite annoying and quite distracting, I guess, especially if you're watching this video. So I've switched to a different monitor. Not a different monitor, I mean a different graphics card, to see if that helps. I think this is a GT510, and yeah, it should get us something, but again, I don't think it's the graphics card that is the issue. So let's see what happens. Going to be checking the keyboard to see if any of the lights are showing up. The 3 lights normally flash when you switch the system on and the keyboard's getting power. But yeah, don't seem to be having much luck right now. It's certainly making enough noise with the fans. Maybe we just need to wait a little bit longer for it to warm up. And yes, we've got something on the screen. Oh, this is actually a GeForce 7300 GT graphics card, and that's the splash screen. We're trying to hit the delete key to get into the BIOS, where we can check various things. So we've got the BIOS screen that you get behind the sort of splash screen, and it seems to have just frozen. It seems to have crashed because it's not finished drawing the text that is on this screen. So yeah, I'm just checking to see if things are getting hot. It all seems fine. Let's switch it off and try again. So I'm going to try taking the heatsink off, and that way we can have a proper look at the processor, see if there's anything obvious going wrong. But yeah, these bolts, this mounting system, I've not seen before, and I'm not familiar with it. So if you've seen this kind of thing before, let me know. It does seem a little bit odd, but there must have been some reason for it. This one is causing me a lot of hassle, having to kind of hold on to the screw on one side, undo the nut on the other, But we are finally getting there. Let's take a closer look at the processor. It's an Intel Q6600, which is a 2.4 gigahertz quad core processor. And if this was working, it would be a processor that you'd probably be able to overclock. But let's just put a basic socket 775 heatsink on here. It's got a nice copper core. It's quite chunky. Put some thermal paste on and see if this makes any difference. The socket 775 mount is a different size to the sockets that came afterwards, which is a shame because I do have lots of these socket 775 heat sinks, so it's a shame that I can't use them on newer systems, but the sort of spacing of the holes is ever so slightly different. These things are always a bit awkward to put on, and with the age of these, I'm trying to be really careful not to break any of the little feet or pins that go through the motherboard holes. I'm just going to check the pins, the little black pins in the middle have gone through properly and they all look fine. Let's connect the fan. Looks like the little tab or spacer on the fan mount has broken off, so I'm being extra careful that I'm lining up the pins correctly. And yeah, that looks good. I should be able to connect it back up now. Give it another try. See what happens when we switch it on by shorting the power connector, power switch pins. And I've got something on screen. Got this flash screen. I'm going to try it and go into the BIOS. Oh, I've forgotten to plug the keyboard in. It would definitely help if I plugged the keyboard in. Let's try that again. The CPU fan seems quite reluctant to spin on this system, so I'm just going to unplug it and plug it back in and see if that helps. There we go, it's back up and running now in terms of all of the fans spinning. But nothing on screen yet. Still nothing on the screen, but it does appear as though the fans are speeding up. So maybe the thermal sensors are working, so it's increasing the fan speeds. No, nothing on the screen. Okay, let's switch this off and try something else. Okay, I'm switching it back on and it seems to have switched itself off. It's coming back on again. Let's see if something comes up on the screen this time. Still waiting. No, it's not working, so I'm going to switch it off. Okay, so I have changed the memory and it's now switching on again. The keyboard light is correctly illuminated, and yeah, let's see how far we get this time. Okay, the fan has stopped and we appear to be back up and running again. I'm trying to go into the BIOS to have a look in here. Just check the settings, see if they look like they're okay. Sometimes systems will be set with a high overclock, or something will be adjusted that I'm not aware of, so I always want to go into the BIOS and check things, as well as have a look at the temperatures and see if they look okay. It's even got the correct date. It doesn't have the correct time, but it does have the correct date, which shows that the CMOS battery is good in this system. And the temperatures looked okay in PC Health. Okay, it's stopped working again. Not getting anything on the screen, so I'm going to switch it off. Okay, I may as well try and reseat the processor. Always a good idea, and it can give you a quick visual inspection of the processor. All the pins look quite clean, so I'll put that back in and make sure it is sort of firmly held in place with the clamp, and put some fresh thermal paste on, put the heatsink back on and try it again. We're back again. It's got the display working. The fan on the processor does seem slow to start up. We're in the BIOS now and the fan has started up, so yeah, that's something that is kind of off-putting. You think there's something wrong because the CPU fan is not spinning, but it does seem quite delayed on this system, and that might be the case for this motherboard, or it might be a symptom of the problem. And I'm trying to get this system to boot from a USB drive, but it appears to have just switched off again. And now it's switched on again. It's kind of got a mind of its own. It's quite frustrating, and yeah, there's nothing on the screen yet. So, just waiting. But nope, still nothing on the screen. just to try something different, I'm going to try a PCI graphics card, not PCI Express, but one that fits in the PCI slots. And this is just an old graphics card, but we'll see if this makes any difference. It does seem really reluctant to start. There's some fans spinning ever so slightly, but it doesn't really want to start up or really do anything. No, it's not doing anything with this card. It's a long time since I've used this graphics card, so maybe it is not a functioning card, but still you would think it maybe would start up. Okay, we've got the fan going now. It's got some signs of life, but they're not particularly giving us anything on the screen. And it's now switched off again. Sometimes I feel like I need to wait just to see if it's going to switch on, but nope, not this time. Since I don't know the history of this system, I'm now going to use electrical contact cleaner to clean the contacts on all of the memory. Yeah, this is something that may help. Perhaps it's something I should have thought about doing much sooner. And you can see the amount of dirt that is actually coming off onto the cloth. And we've got the memory in place after cleaning. We've switched it on, and again it's the same even with electrical contact cleaner. We've still got the same issue where it is not working, and I've even tried a different sticker memory from a different system. So I'm getting very close to giving up on this system, but here is what happened to the heatsink. One of the little toggles or little plastic clips on the very end of the feet have broken off, so I'm going to, I've got a spare that I can replace it with. Then you can actually remove these and replace them. So I do tend to keep a bunch of these lying around because they do break with sort of age and time. And even if I can't use the heatsink on a modern system, I may need some of these little clips. So it can be a little bit fiddly to get it off, but yeah, you can pull the black section off, give it some welly, yank it off, and then find the little hole that this bit goes through so that you can take that out, and then put the non-broken one back in. And this is those are the two parts to it. the little sticky out bit goes through that gap. And then once that's in, we can put the other section through again, and we've got a fixed heatsink. So I'm going to have a closer look at the pins on the motherboard, see if there are any obvious signs of damage to these pins, but I can't see anything. And I'm going to try a different CPU, so I'm going to use this Core 2 Duo E4500 and see if that helps at all. The theory behind this is that perhaps the E4500 requires less power, puts less demand on the capacitors around the system, and maybe we'll get it to work. And I'm not putting the heatsink on because it shouldn't matter too much. It shouldn't stop it from switching on, but just in case it does cause any problems, I'm going to put the heatsink back on. So this is how I check that the power is getting through to the keyboard and the keyboard is connected properly. I'm going to switch the power supply and you'll see the 3 LEDs light up. So we've got the fan spinning, but nothing on the screen, and I'm going to wait a little while just in case something does kind of take some time to warm up. But listening to it, it sounds like the fans are just increasing in speed, but nothing is actually happening. That didn't work, so I'm going to give another processor a try, a Pentium 4 socket 775 again, 3 GHz chip, and we'll see if this does anything. And I've skipped installing the heatsink. But it's getting very hot, so yeah, maybe I should put the heatsink on. Again, there's nothing on the screen and the fan was quite reluctant to start. So I'm going to try a different power supply. This is just a cheap power supply. It's got a Pentium, it says Pentium on it, Pentium 4, so it should be capable of dealing with this system. And if there is a kind of capacitor issue, then perhaps a different power supply will be a fresh start for this PC. So let's give this a try. Okay, so it's got something on the screen. We've got a post error occurs. We've got a choice of default or last known good, but the keyboard doesn't want to work. Wonder if that's a sort of a capacitor or power issue. Maybe oh, it just moved. I was going to switch it off, but it's just moved. Maybe keyboard needs oh yeah, I'll push the cable in, see if that helps. Okay, I'm able to press default and it's switched itself off. Oh no, it's still on, it's back again. The CPU fan is spinning. I'll just leave it for a little bit, see if it does anything. But here it says Pentium 4 on the power supply. Don't know if you can hear that, but there's a sort of whistling sound coming from the power supply. Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter how long I leave it, it doesn't seem to be powering up. It's using 123 watts at the wall, so it is definitely drawing enough power to power the processor, but we're still not getting anything on the screen. If you've got this far, thank you for watching. I think I've exhausted all options now, and the whistling of the power supply is getting louder, so I should probably switch it off before anything bad happens. Thanks again for watching, and see you in another video.